Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, the Passover holiday begins with relatively little tension, but emphasis on relatively as police responding to multiple attacks and violent riots across the country. Meantime, an explosive report alleging that the Prime Minister's office was bugged for roughly a decade. The recording device, supposedly a leftover extension of the so-called Harpaz spying affair. And lastly, a look at the Ukrainian refugee Passover seder held in Israel over the weekend, complete with holiday wishes from President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Rioting and clashing again reported over the weekend in Jerusalem and various other locations across the country. This as the second week of Ramadan coming to a close and the beginning of the Passover and Good Friday holidays beginning. Young Muslim Palestinians raising tensions at the Temple Mount complex and the Al-Aqsa Mosque in efforts to prevent Jews from accessing the site.
After a weekend of a so-called calm, Defense Minister Gantz officially reopening crossings between Israel and Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank. Violent clashes between Palestinians and Israelis kept to a minimum, while Jews celebrating the opening of the week-long Passover holiday and Christians marking Good Friday. All things relative, however, with many outbreaks of violence reported in the capital and select other cities in the country. The pockets of violence continuing over the weekend and well into Sunday morning. For example, following morning Ramadan prayers in Jerusalem, Palestinians seen throwing stones at public buses, breaking windows and injuring passengers, at least 2 later arrested. But this as Jews making their way to the Temple Mount under strict police supervision and coordination. Jerusalem's Temple Mount complex being a particular flashpoint as usual, the site being the holiest place in Judaism, but barring Jewish prayers, as it's also the location of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is overseen by the Jordanian Muslim Waqf. And under incitement by Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and the Palestinian authorities, hundreds of Palestinian youth preparing for the battle at the site. Videos showing that rioters collecting stones and other weapons inside the mosque, long before the clashes with police, popped up. And in the ensuing riots, Israeli forces reportedly injuring nearly 160 and arresting some 470 people. But all but 130 were later arrested, in a supposed agreement with Hamas to restore calm under threat of rocket fire. Those remaining in detention, reportedly adults with prior criminal records, and on Saturday night, the court extending the remand. Meanwhile, a 15-year-old Palestinian girl arrested in Haifa, Israel, for wounding a 47-year-old man in a stabbing terror attack. The girl's father reportedly calling police and reporting that the potential of her attack after she admitted being incited by images of clashes in Jerusalem. And then Saturday morning, security forces apprehending a 21-year-old Palestinian from Silwad who was attempting to scale the fence around the settlement of Bet El with a knife. The suspect later taken in for questioning by the Shin Bet.
Now joining me to discuss the still ongoing Palestinian incitement and violence in Jerusalem, journalist and senior research fellow with the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, Yoni Ben Menachem. Yoni, it's great to have you with us. Now, why is the Temple Mount so volatile? Why can't the space be shared at all?
Because the Palestinians claim that Israel is trying to take over the Temple Mount and the Al-Aqsa Mosque and divide the Temple Mount for prayers for Muslims and Jews, like it did in Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron. And the holiday of Pesach is every year, it's the same problem. And we have a week of Chol HaMoed where Jews are going to pray or to visit the Temple Mount, Har HaBayit, and it always a reason for clashes between the rioters and the prayers and the rioters and the police. It's a yearly ritual.
I mean, you know, is it not acknowledged at all that there is Jewish significance at Har HaBayit, at the Temple Mount? And also, you know, the common argument, as you said, is that Israel is Judaizing the Temple Mount and taking it over and planning to destroy the mosque even. But such claims have been made consistently for decades. The mosque is still standing under Jordanian Muslim Waqf authority. So how are these accusations still so fervently believed?
They are believed because it started with the Mufti Haj Amin al-Husseini, and then Yasser Arafat, who was the head of the PLO. He claimed that there were never any shrines, any temples, Jewish temples on the Temple Mount.
To watch full episodes of ILTV's Israel Daily and tons of other content from Israel, visit our website at iltv.tv or download the ILTV Plus app.